Hello, handy viewers, such as you are, and welcome to this Don't Touch the Beard, episode 26, in which It's been a while, and I've forgotten the thing that I say that I thought would be a catchphrase and wouldn't be a catchphrase, in which I record, document, and then talk nonsense over games of Guild Ball. Is that it? Close enough. I am joined today, of all days, well, it wasn't today, it was Friday before Vengeance, by Mr. Jamie Perkins, Mr. Lead Perkins at that there Steamforged. We were both planning on taking Morts and Hunters respectively to Vengeance 5. My flip-floppity is well documented, and I won't go into that anymore here. But for the purposes of this game, we thought it would be a fun little exercise to take the minor guilds for our respective guilds. So we are looking at Falconers versus Ratcatchers. Teams then, so we are naturally fixed into Piper and Squeak for the Ratcatchers and Divana and Frelsey for the Falconers, due to them both being minor guilds. In turn then, Mr. Perkins elected to kick off and went with Scourge, Veteran Graves, Miasma and Pelage, and I in turn went with Minerva, Egret, Veteran Hern and the big brave boy himself, Rundas. Piper kicks out, so he takes himself a little jog, dinking the ball over the line. Jamie not happy with the original going 5 inches in the 2, re-rolls and it goes 2 inches to the 5. On the receive, so I'm going first, I allocate 6 to Divana, none to Frelsey, 3 to Veteran Hern, 1 to Rundas, 1 to Minerva, and 2 to Egret. Jamie in turn puts 6 on Piper, none on Squeak, 1 on Pelage, 3 on Scourge, 1 on Vet Graves, and 2 on Miasma. So I activate Veteran Hern, and thanks to Winter's blessing, he not only ignores the rough ground, but becomes faster due to it. He walks up, snaps the ball, and passes the ball successfully to Rundas, banking the point of momentum. He then attempts to throw a spear thanks to Skewered at Piper and misses. Jamie activates Pelage, who spends 1 influence to sprint, and he does so at an angle to clip the fast ground, gaining himself an additional 2 inches of movement. Rundas activates and snaps the ball to next to Minerva, who immediately picks it back up. He jogs forward next to Veteran Hern, and thanks to the Falconers Guild rule, is able to cast a Harrier marker for 1 less than normal, as Divana is his captain. A Harrier marker is, whilst an enemy model is stood within it, they will take more damage in the form of +1 damage from character play or playbook damage results. Nasty little area AoE. Jamie activates Miasma, who sprints forward thanks to Squeak's rules of tag-along. He comes with her, and then at the end of her activation, due to the guild rule of disease, the disease condition spreads from Miasma to Squeak and to Piper, as they are within 2 inches of her at the end of her activation. Minerva activates and unsnaps the ball to Divana, steps forward, and just like Rundas before her, puts out another Harrier marker, hopefully for Divana to make use of and to explode me some rats. So at the beginning of Piper's activation, he makes use of Salve on Miasma to clear the disease condition on him. He then proposes the first of the Rat's real dilemma mechanics. So the Ratcatchers have their own sort of play style where they offer bad choices to their opponent. In this case, Haunting Melody is being used on Rundas, meaning that I have to choose, does Rundas walk towards Piper, or does Piper walk towards Rundas? Now, naturally, Piper being a striker, making him have a free advance towards my goal is not a great idea. Equally, walking Rundas forward so that he's within charge range of Scourge, who's at the top of the screen there and fully loaded. Equally, Vet Graves, who is yet to activate, who could very easily walk in and use that knockdown They Ain't Tough on 2 to really ruin Rundas's day. I elect for Piper to come to me. Let's see how that turned out for me. So after I've given the striker Piper a free advance, he then takes another one, deftly avoiding the melee zones of Vethern and Rundas at the top of the screen, but ending his movement engaged by both Minerva and with Divana, who of course has the ball. Piper puts up his aura Pay the Piper. It's really the second of his dilemma mechanics, meaning that if I spend momentum to counterattack or anything similar, then the Ratcatchers player is going to gain a point of momentum back themselves. Very nasty. Piper buys an attack against Minerva. He is TAC 5 normally, but he's crowded out by the presence of Divana, reducing his TAC to 4. The eagle-eyed amongst you may notice that Perkins only rolls 3 dice here, but hey, I'm not going to complain. Seriously, I didn't notice at the time. Perk, you're selling yourself short. He gets 1 net hit, taking the momentous tackle push on 1. Elects not to push Minerva away at this point. Buys his second attack into Minerva, again doesn't roll enough dice, and again gets the same result, this time electing to push Minerva away. Jamie declares an attack against Divana with the ball now, and is crowded out by Minerva still due to a 2-inch reach. He gets no net hits. Divana's counter then, I am TAC 6 thanks to the crowd out by Minerva, and I get nothing whatsoever. Piper attacks again, this time getting 2 net hits against Divana, going for the momentous tackle push on 1, stripping the ball and pushing Divana away. Piper then makes use of his heroic play Distracting Tune to choose an enemy model within 4 inches and push it 2 inches away in any direction. Piper then takes a shot on goal, bonus timing back up to 4 dice to negate the engagement by Minerva and hits it. 4-0 now to the Ratcatchers. He then spends the point of momentum gained from the goal to run the length and dodge 4 inches back further towards my deployment line, meaning if I want to try and take him out, I'm going to have to go backwards. One of the things I was really looking forward to this matchup against Jamie was, although the Ratcatchers have always appealed, I've never really understood the sorts of things that you could do with Piper. Got a much better understanding now. So, kick the ball out to Thar. It lands just in front of Frailsea, but not near enough to snap the ball. So after a bit of measuring and realising that miasma is just out of range of a jog and a flurry from Egret, I activate Frailsea and go and stand him next to Piper. Jamie activates Veteran Graves, who heroics, giving Squeak 2 influence. He then has himself a sprint up the pitch. I declare a charge with Divana into Piper, and thanks to assist from Frailsea, I'm gaining an additional tack and an additional damage. Should have just walked in on hindsight, but there we go. So that's TAC 11 versus 6 and O's as Jamie defensive stances with Piper. I get a 1 net hit for a momentous 2 damage. Second attack, TAC 7 versus 5 and O's, same result, 1 net hit, momentous 2 damage. Third attack, TAC 7 versus 5 and O's, 2 net hits is a momentous 3 damage this time. Another attack, 3 net hits this time, but still momentous 3 due to the playbook Divana has. Last attack, TAC 7 versus 5 and O's, 2 net hits, momentous 3 damage, leaving Piper on 1 wound and 5 points of momentum generated for me. Squeak has a sprint forward. Watching this back, I do wonder if the legendary from Squeak could have been useful here. The ability to pick up that free ball and then kick it out that I've left. Thankfully, Jamie missed it, but looking at this back with my sort of newfound appreciation of rats, that legendary is fantastic. Equally, here I measure a flurry possibility from Egret onto Vet Graves, well out of range. Then I entirely missed that I could have just done it off the rat. Idiot. I then go sprint with Egret, pick up the ball and sprint towards the cover at the bottom of the pitch there. So with no viable target, Scourge sprints forward and at the end of his activation infects Veteran Graves with disease. Turnover. So we finish the turn and all those affected by the disease conditions, so that's Scourge, Veteran Graves, Squeak and Miasma take a point of damage. Falconers finish on 5 momentum and Ratcatchers on 1, so it's looking like I should have turn advantage going into turn 2. We play our cards, Jamie playing Dig Deep and I'm playing Keep Your Chin Up. Turn 2 allocations for me then. I put 4 on Divana, 3 on Vethern, 4 on Rundust, none on Minerva or Frailsea, and 2 on Egret. Not having 1 on Minerva feels bad, because that's now 1 less Harrier marker. But then again, I didn't use the other 2 in the last turn. I are bad with Falconers. Ratcatchers in turn put none on Piper on Squeak, and then fully load everyone else due to the additional goal influence and the additional game plan influence. Jamie are good with Ratcatchers. I activate Vet Hearn, who throws a spear at Scourge, doing 3 points of damage, reduced down by Scourge's tough hide, giving him the snared condition, lowering his defense and making him slower. Then, due to Winter's Blessing, again meaning I ignore the rough ground and also get faster because of it, Hearn takes a little jog and goes to engage Piper. Hearn then takes a swing at Piper. He is tax 7 due to the 2 crowd outs. He gets 3 net hits for a straight up 2 damage, killing Piper and awarding 2 VP and a momentum to the Falconers. So Vet Graves activates and moves to engage both Minerva and Rundas. First attack then, tack 5s versus 4s and O's of Minerva is 2 net hits. Jamie takes the knockdown They Ain't Tough, putting the They Ain't Tough on Rundas. Graves then swings for Rundas, who so is tack 5s versus 3s and O's. 3 net hits, that's a knockdown exhaustion from Vet Graves. So exhaustion, 4 inch aura, whilst within this aura, enemy models have to spend an additional momentum to declare a counterattack. Graves switches his attention back to Minerva, buys another attack. So tack 5 versus 3s and O's, 3 net hits is a momentous 2 damage. Last attack, thankfully, into Minerva again, tack 5 versus 3s and O's, 4 net hits. He takes the momentous double push, bringing Minerva nearer Pelage and Scourge. Goody! He then spends a point of momentum for his heroic Packmaster, giving Squeak 2 influence, and then at the end of his activation, disease spreads from Vet Graves to both Rundas and Minerva. This is all going swimmingly. I activate Rundas, who uses his Shadow Light to dodge 2 inches towards Vet Graves, and then uses his advance to clear the knockdown condition. I then use Come On Mate, the plot card I played at the beginning of the turn, to clear the knockdown on Minerva. So I declare an attack with Rundas. Jamie declares a counter with Veteran Graves. I'm tax 7 thanks to the crowd out from Minerva versus 3s and 2s. 3 net hits is a momentous 3 and a push, doing 3 points of damage and pushing Graves into base-to-base contact with Rundas. So Jamie's counter-attack then, he's crowded out by Minerva, so he is tack 4. Tack 4 versus 3s and O's, 4 net hits. It's the momentous double push, pushing me away. I had the 2 momentum near to clear the knockdown because of the disease. I thought I was safe. He was crowded out. He needed all 4 hits to achieve the thing which ruins my turn. Of course he does it. That's fine. I spend 1 influence to set up a Harry marker. He then throws some dirty knives at Vet Graves, hitting, doing 2 points of damage thanks to the Harry marker, reducing his defense by 1 and poisoning him. So Pelage activates and moves into base-to-base contact with Rundas. If you've not seen new Pelage in action, or even the old Pelage, do bear in mind her rule Killer Male. So just for being a fella, she does 1 point of additional damage for each attack, of each playbook result rather, against you. This will go fine, I'm sure. So Rundas' Tough Hide and Killer Male from Pelage effectively cancelling each other out, so we just have playbook damage results. So that is tack 6 versus 3s and O's. 5 net hits is a straight up 4 damage. It's a strong opener. Second attack, tack 6 versus 3s and O's. 4 net hits is a momentous 3 damage. Third attack, 5 net hits again, another 4 damage. Done a grand total of 11 already. Fourth attack, so tack 6 versus 3s and O's. 4 net hits is a momentous 3 damage. That is enough to kill Rundas. So momentum for the damage, momentum for the takeout, and 2 further VP for the Ratcatchers, bringing the score to Falconers 2, Ratcatchers 6. So I activate a Gret, who goes from a little jog, ending her little jog 8 inches away from Miasma with the intent of taking a flurry. So that's 2 dice needing a 4. No flurry. No points of damage. No 2 points of damage on Miasma. No poison. No back to the shadows. No nothing. Sucks to be me. So Squeak activates and has himself a little jog up to Minerva. So that is tack 4 due to the crowd out from Vet Graves versus 4 and O's of Minerva. 2 net hits is the momentous dreadful shriek. So Minerva goes for a little jog towards Pelage and a very scourgeable area. And thanks to Tagalong, Squeak goes with her. But as it's directly towards, he can't move the other side of Vet Graves. Second attack, 3 net hits this time, so a momentous 2 damage. I activate Divana and make use of Hackback to dodge Frelsey into melee range with Vet Graves. Divana sprints forward and legendaries, doing 3 points of damage and the snared condition to any enemy model within 6 inches. So that's Pelage and Vet Graves snared and 3 points of damage. Scourge is already snared due to having a spear thrown at him by Vet Hen and does 2 points of damage to him due to Tough Hide. I then use Deadly Wings to move the Harrier AoE into contact with Scourge so that I can attack him from afar. I think this was a mistake. I think I should have gone after Vet Graves, although Scourge is 2s and O's. Vet Graves is now on only 5 health after the legendary play. I think with the assist from Frelsey, that was probably something I could have pulled off. Oh well. How can Divana make an attack against a model that's nowhere near? Well, handy viewers such as you are, it is on screen now. They're all death from above. As long as the enemy model is within 6 inches and line of sight and stood within a Harrier marker, Divana can make use of all of her eagles to attack from far away. This does exhaust the Harrier marker, however, not as well as the +1 damage from the Harrier marker, she gets a whopping +5 tack as well. So as well as Divana's base attack, I get an additional 5 tack, and I decide to bonus time it as well. Never mind all that, there's a dog! Hello! Hello, who are you? Hello, dog! No idea who that is. So that is tack 11 versus 2s and Hoes. Very different game. 10 net hits, so I went for the Momentous 4. Thought about doing the knockdown, but with Miasma within 6 inches, he just would have been able to clear it with Salve anyway. So went for the damage. I have a period of lamenting my choices, and then pass the turn. So Scourge activates and makes use of Salve, so to clear a condition with, as he's within 6 inches of Miasma, so he clears the snared condition. So Scourge is a whopping tack 9 versus Minerva's 4 and 0. He gets an 8 net hits, so there's a Momentous 6 and a Momentous Snack Break. Why is it that he does +1 damage compared to the playbook? Well, due to his plague-ridden rule, whilst he's diseased, he does +1 damage to playbook damage results. And the Snack Break, he heals himself 4. This is fine. Another attack into Minerva, tack 9 versus 4s and O's. 3 net hits is a Momentous 3. Last attack, tack 9 versus 4s and O's. 7 net hits is Momentous 6, enough to kill her. Momentous Guild Ball result on the first column on the wrap. Can't take Snack Break again. So instead spends 2 points of momentum to heal himself as he's diseased. So at the end of Scourge's activation, not only does disease spread to every other model within 2 inches, but also it is now 8 to the Ratcatchers and a lowly 2 to the Falconers. I entirely forget about Frelsey and tell Jamie I have no more activation, so he activates Miasma and declares a charge against Egret. I declare a counterattack and a defensive stance, as Jamie is well ahead on momentum at this point. I then remember that Miasma has a 2-inch melee and entirely change my mind before Jamie places his model. So that's tack 9 versus 5s and 1. 1 net hit is 1 point of damage. Second attack, tack 5 versus 4s and 1s. 3 net hits, goes for the Erupting Sores. Erupting Sores being Miasma's dilemma mechanic. So I take 2 points of damage and then choose, do I want to be poisoned or do I want to have the bleed condition, and I elect for bleed. Last attack, tack 5s versus 4s and 1s. 2 net hits is a Momentous Push. So at the end of the turn, there's a whole world of conditions to resolve. So Egret takes 4 because of the bleed and the disease. Graves takes 3 because of poison and disease. Scourge takes a point. Frelsey takes a point. Minerva's dead. Divana takes a point. Squeak takes a point. Miasma takes a point. Conditions for all. Jamie is miles ahead on momentum, so he's clearly going to win initiative should he wish to. I play Get Back in there so that my 2 models returning to the pitch can hopefully be a bit more relevant, and he plays wingbacks, giving his models, which are within 8 inches of the edge of the pitch, a free Shadow-like at the beginning of their turn. Turn 3 allocations, then Piper gets 6, Squeak gets none, Scourge gets 3, none for Veteran Graves, 1 for Pelage, and 1 for Miasma. Falconers then, Divana has 6, Frelsey gets 1, Hearn gets none, Rundas gets 4, Minerva gets 1, and Egret gets 1, and Minerva and Rundas reappear at the top of your screen now-ish. So Piper activates and takes his Shadow-like gained from the Wingbacks card at the bottom of the screen. He takes himself with a little jog up to the ball-carrying Egret. So that is tack 6 versus 4s and 1s. 2 net hits is a Momentous Tackle Push, pushing Egret and stripping the ball from her. Second attack, tack 6 versus 4s and 1s. 1 net hit again, momentous tackle push on 1. Piper then passes the ball to Miasma. 3 dice due to the engagement from Regret, so that 3 dice needing a 3 because it's at half range. Pass is successful, and Miasma takes a 4-inch dodge forward off the pass. Piper then makes use of Reverie, 3 influence to make a friendly model within 8 inches sprint forward and take a shot without spending influence, however the momentum is still required. Miasma sprints into tapping range and with the bonus time with the additional momentum happily sinks the shot, bringing the score to Falconers 2, Ratcatchers 12. So the Ratcatchers win the game of Guild Ball, but I got to play with a dog, so who's the real winner here? He is. I said right at the beginning that Ratcatchers have always appealed right from when I did their Season 4 preview back in last September with Connor and Panzer, but I've never quite understood how Piper works. I think I have a much better grasp of how he works from now on. My thanks to Jamie for the game and to Jay and his team for a phenomenal vengeance that happened just after this game the next day. Big love to you and your boys. I look forward to the next one. If you are looking for a Vengeance style tournament, there is of course the London GT happening on the weekend of September the 14th. I will put the links in the doobly-doo. It's been wonderful to do this again. Hopefully we'll do it again soon. Until next time, handy viewers such as you are, I need a better outro.